Alright, part 3 of I Know What You Did Last Summer, in-depth horror discussion review.
We left off
Alright, we left
after
off
the
with them.
Anne Heche scene.
No, they're sitting still, and it cuts to nighttime, and they're still
Sarah
sitting
Michelle
in the car.
Gellar
They're
and
still sitting in the
Jennifer
car
Love
talking about the
Hughes.
situation. And then she's like, you know, we used to be friends, blah, blah. But anyway, so they drop off Buffy.
She's like, friends go apart.
So they
shit
drop off
happens.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer at her house, and then freaking her dad's drinking scotch, watching the football game, and then freaking she goes to the kitchen and get like a Diet
He's
Coke.
watching
And then
College World
freaking out,
Series.
and then the killer walks to the front door.
Baseball.
Like, you're like, oh man, he's so smooth.
Yeah, the Gordon's fisherman walks in the front door.
And you're like, wow,
and
she
they
drinks
show
a
the
Diet
hook.
Coke in the kitchen? What a freaking commercial. Anyway, so she goes upstairs. Yeah, the killer
She
comes through and
talks
he's
to her
got the hook.
sister who she
The
doesn't get
raincoat, he's all
along
rained
with.
down, even though it wasn't even raining outside. No, it wasn't.
She talks to her sister who she doesn't get along with. And
Yeah,
she's
she's
like,
upstairs.
You and your hair,
Hold up,
so
no.
pathetic.
When she's upstairs, when they go upstairs, though, they show that the killer's already in the closet. When she gets up there, you're like, okay,
like
what's the
Scream Force.
And you're like, okay. So then her sister comes in, she's like brushing her hair, and she's like, oh, so pathetic. It's
And-
freaking hilarious.
And her sister wants her to work, and she's like,
I can't
and
do it.
tomorrow's the freaking parade. As
I'm
we
in the
know.
pageant. I'm in the pageant parade.
The former beauty queen.
I gotta be
has
there.
to ride in the parade.
Anyways,
it's our small
and the whole
town.
time the killer's like
Rules,
watching her
it's a
sweet ass.
tradition.
Alright, anyways.
So then it's the next day.
It's the next morning, and she
and
wakes
it's
up
like
and her
a
hair's...
it's supposed to be like a Godfather type scene. Like
No.
she wakes up with the horse in her back.
No.
She wakes up and her
hair's all-
hair's gone.
Her hair's all cut and everything.
It's supposed
like
to be
all,
suspenseful.
on one side, it's all
and-
cut, and she's like, "What the?" And it says "soon" right on the
Like
freaking.
that's supposed to be
it says soon on her
scary or
freaking
something.
mirror.
Like if they did that in
On
a
her
remake,
dresser.
everyone would be pissed off.
Anyway, so she's flipping out. Anyway, so then she calls.
And that's when she sees
calls Jennifer Love
and
Slut.
on the mirror it's written "soon" in red
I
lipstick.
said that, you fucking douche.
Okay.
Alright, so anyway, she
I'm
calls
the biggest douche ever.
So she
I
calls
guess.
Jennifer Love Slut, and then freaking she's on her way over, and then this is
is
the infamy where she drives over and she's got crabs. No, she opens the trunk and it's Max's dead body.
She hears nothing, but decides to stop and check her trunk.
Oh yeah, for some reason, yeah, she wanted to check.
And she finds Max's body in it, like you're saying.
with all the crabs and the ice cubes, and you're like, oh, and it's pretty tight.
She-
And this is the classic where she freaking like. It's
But
like,
supposedly she was right in front of her house
No,
too.
she calls-
She
she
runs
calls-
right into.
yeah,
their house.
she calls Buffy and calls the guys there. No, it calls Blondie there. It's just Blondie and the other, the guy. and
No,
the
she
freaking
runs
girl.
into the house and he's there, surprisingly.
Oh yeah. She goes up there. Yeah, so then they all come out. She's like, he was right there. And
No, then
tells
Sarah
Blondie to open
Michelle
it.
Gellar is dressed like a freaking. In like a black girl's outfit, like from the Salt and Pepper like music video in the 90s, like hardcore, like.
So then the blonde
With
guy
the
opens
black
the trunk.
leather hat.
Max is not in the trunk. And
Watch
they're
it
like, all right,
and
what
tell
the?
me.
She's like, dude, he's just messing with us. He's fine. And then freaking, she runs in the road. She's like, what are you waiting
No,
for?
then they.
What are you waiting? She's spinning around in a circle, and you're like, so unbelievable.
Who wrote that?
And they freaking, that's the infamous scene they make fun of.
I
in
know
Scary
Kevin
Movie.
Williamson wrote that, but like, honestly,
And freaking,
it came out so pathetic.
so then freaking.
Then they
This is
go
when
over to
Fred-
Freddie
no.
Prinze Jr.'s
Yeah, that's when
house,
Freddie Prinze Jr. freaking shows up.
and he punches him. And JT, freaking Ryan Phillippe,
Oh, yeah, the
freaking
blondie
punches him in the
freaking-
face.
He's like,
He's behind it all.
He's like, yeah, he's behind it all. What are you doing here? He's like, where have you been?
He's just like, I
Yeah.
got a letter.
He's
No,
like, I got
dude,
a letter.
I got a letter. I'm gay.
Hey, he's like, dude, no, I'm a part of. He's like, I'm part of this. I got a letter, and he's like, oh yeah. He's like, she gets a body in her trunk. He's like, she gets her hair cut, and he's like, I get
get
freaking
my
ran
car
over.
wrecked.
He's like, I get ran over, and freaking you get a letter, and then he punches him in the face, and it's hilarious.
He's like, yeah, that's balance.
Yeah, it's balanced.
It's one of the best lines in the movie.
Anyways, so
And then he was like,
freaking-
you're always jealous of us. You try to fit in.
Yeah, he's like, you always want to fit in with
They
us.
gave him the best lines of the movie.
It's a pretty good one.
Oh, no, then they're like...
No, and then freaking what's her name?
when
He's
they
like, I want
talk
my
about-
life back.
and
Yeah.
they're like, what's his
Jennifer
name?
Love Slut's like,
David
I want my life
Egan?
back.
Oh, yeah, he's
Freaking-
class of 92. And Sarah Michelle Gellar's like, oh, my sister's class of 92. And then they look at the yearbook up in her room.
Yeah, they're looking at the yearbook.
And then
freaking
this is when
trying to
they come
find
up
the
with a
picture of the guy.
plan for the next day at the parade, as we know.
And they're like, all right, we'll
And
just
this is when
stick.
he chases the guy.
They're
and
just
the
like, we'll
freaking-
stick together at the parade. So then he's sitting on the front
They're
of the
like,
float,
yeah, when he
Blondie.
comes after us, we'll pound his
And
ass.
it's like filler, like of them freaking looking back and forth, like smiling at each other, like, hey, make the parade, Buffy the Vampire
This is
Slayer
when
and
he
Blondie.
chases one of
So they know,
the
and they're-
first fishermen they see,
So he
even
sees
though
it-
they're on
she
a
points
dwarf
out- yeah,
and they
she-
know the town
She
that's full.
points out a guy in the
They
fisherman
grew
suit.
up there the whole time. town, even though they know.
Blondie chases him. No, it's hilarious though because he tackles him, and it's a freaking like 9-year-old guy, and he's like, and he doesn't even say anything to the 9-year-old guy. He's just like, where is he?
The casting directors were like, who looks least like a rapist serial killer? Like, oh, this 7-year-old guy.
Anyways, so then it cuts back to Buffy, and she's freaking like looking around. She sees her. She's like seeing like a million people in freaking inside red suits and freaking fisherman suits, and she's like all flipping out. It's like a filler emotional. And then what else is going on at this time, JB?
Where'd you leave off?
You know, she's freaking looking out. And it's all the
and
freaking
it's everyone in
fishermen.
fish suits. Then it cuts to what's her name? Jennifer Love Hewitt goes to freaking Anne Heche's house. And
also when
that's when she's cutting the fish.
No,
like it's
also when
Andrew Zimmern
yeah,
Bizarre Food
yeah.
style.
Also when it shows like freaking the crowd there, it's like a random black like teenager, 20-year-old, and he's got like that fish head hat on.
Total extra. No, then she talks to Anne Heche, and Anne Heche was saying, "I know my brother didn't get murdered. He killed himself."
Yeah, she tries to tell her that, and then she figures out.
Jennifer Love Hewitt starts thinking that
she figures out that it's freaking.
It was the wrong guy.
Yeah, it's not that guy. And freaking, so she's like, get out of here and leave, So she leaves, and she's like, all right.
This is when it goes to the pallet.
So she searches again. No, and then at the same time, it shows the pageant going on, and freaking Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But then freaking also, she's researching the other stuff of like, the true story, what happened. So then she finds out that it's actually like the guy, it's the sister's.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when they reveal it.
Yeah, that's right. So then
she's killing her. This is the pageant scene.
And the boyfriend's up top at the freaking balcony.
No, and it's Sarah Michelle Gellar in a pool full of extras, and she's like, and then it's a rent-a-cop. A guy in a rent-a-cop suit comes up, and she's like, my boyfriend's dying, my boyfriend's... No one's even looking, even though she's screaming
this part doesn't make sense. Yeah, she's running out, like, screaming for help, and then everybody gets out of their seats and, like, in the aisleway and blocks her. And you're like, okay. And the cop's like, what's going on? What's your problem? Anyways, so they go upstairs, they don't find anything, but then when they walk away...
this is when the fisherman kills the freaking her boyfriend.
Yeah, he kills him, but then when they go upstairs,
no, they don't even show the death really.
Yeah,
they set it up so that you want to see him get killed, and you can't wait for how the guy kills him with the fish net, and he just kind of like tackles him in between like equipment up there.
Yeah, it's pretty retarded. So, anyways, no, and then
tell me your thoughts.
When the cops go up there and the freaking everybody leave. Freaking, it's the freaking blood. It's the shot of the blood dripping on the freaking on the stairway up there on the balcony. It's dope. And then freaking, all right. So then it cuts to the freaking.
Then Jennifer Love Hewitt's on her laptop, and she's like, "Oh, she had a dad." She figures out that David Egan's girlfriend had a dad, and then she runs to the fam. No, then it cuts back to Sarah Michelle Gellar. She takes her home. No, then the cop takes.
Yeah, the cop's taking her
because he doesn't believe Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, she's like, I don't believe the cop's taking her home, and then freaking they're going through an alleyway because the other street's blocked off, and it's like a total prop. It's just a one little rail. Like,
so the cops don't believe him, and the fisherman kills the cop.
So they go through the alleyway, and the guy's fixing his car.
He wipes off the hook.
This is a tight shot. Yeah, it's a pretty tight kill. He kills the cop pretty tight, and so then she flips out. She runs through, and she gets to the store.
Runs into a family store, and she's like, I'm being attacked. And her
sister's like, oh my goodness, I'm coming. And then freaking she gets the door, opens her, let her in, and then freaking the killer shows up at the back door, comes in through the back door, and then freaking right when she's going to lock the back door.
Oh, this is so retarded. Like the killer like creeps up behind her sister.
Creep behind her. Yeah, creeps behind her.
And she's just like, and she doesn't even scream or anything, and she just takes it like she's Obi-Wan Kenobi in like Star Wars Episode 4.
And disappears.
Episode 4, New Hope.
But then she gets killed by him, and then freaking Jennifer Love, so it's like, hello?
It's total filler,
it's not
walking
Jennifer,
around
it's
the store.
It's Buffy,
For some
not Jennifer.
reason, Sarah Michelle Gellar didn't even hear the death. It's like retarded.
She's like,
she's walking around the store.
She goes to the back of the store, and then
she finds her sister dead.
No, and then it's freaking the killer underneath the tarp. The clear tarp, like a mannequin tarp, and then freaking he pops out, and it's a pretty good jump scare.
And that's when she climbs up and then jumps out of the freaking glass, like toast on.
Nah, they whipped out the sugar glass for that one.
She totally auditioned for the Buffy role. She's like, I've been Buffy, I could do my own stunts.
She's like, I can do my own stunts, what? So anyway, then he chases her out, and then they go through the same alley. They go through a different alley.
No, then the killer's walking upstairs, and this is when you realize he like totally stole Michael Myers' act. Like He totally
she
has
climbs up
Michael
to the
Myers
upstairs and
mannerisms
jumps
the
out the
whole
sugar
movie.
glass, and then she goes and then he chases her out through the alley, and then freaking she almost gets to the parade. She sees the parade, and it's like the tires all along the wall, and then freaking the killer kills her right there, and then also
No, they don't even show shit. She gets like tackled and raped into the tires, and they don't show. And then it's like a high school marching band playing at midnight on July 4th.
while the freaking fireworks are going on.
And then she was
and
like, it was Sarah's dad
so
that killed David Egan. She goes to talk to Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah, it cuts to Jennifer Love Slide in the crowd. She finds him, and she sees that his boat has all the papers of him looking up the stories, and she's like, looking at it all suspiciously.
And his boat's name's Billy Blue, and she's like, "Oh, it's you! Like, it's the ending to Scream or something. It's the boyfriend."
He's like, "I'm Freddie Prinze Jr."
And you're like, why would that even make any sense anyway? It wasn't suspenseful at all. And then she runs away. Then a guy like clotheslines freaking Freddie Prinze Jr. out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, what the hell?
On the dock,
That's when she goes into his boat and finds the
no, it's Ernest P. Worrell.
I know, he's dressed up in a jean jacket
and like a jean hat and everything. Nah.
What the hell is that?
So then she runs in the boat, and then he comes in and he's like, "You all right?"
Nick Dunning like that.
And he's like freaking taking off the rope off the dock or something, so the boat goes away.
No, and she starts talking to him. And the guy's like, "You should be out partying,
hey,
getting wasted, even though you're the And she's like, "No, I'm the sober character. Remember?"
It's freaking hilarious. She's like, "Yeah, you should be out getting away with murder,
running over
people." It's freaking hilarious.
She's like, "You're Ben Willis,"
and she's like, "I know who you are."
Then this is the infamous
You're
boat
Ernest P.
scene,
Worrell.
the boat ending.
And then
it's just like a hardcore '90s action movie.
So Freddie Prinze Jr. wakes up while the boat's taking off, already off the dock,
and
then
no, he freaking tails the boat and gets on it like he's Jack
gets in a little boat
or something.
He gets in a little boat and goes up to it and gets on it like he's Jack Sparrow. So then he freaking gets
Peter
on.
Pan or some shit with a knife in his
She
mouth.
runs out. The freaking Ernest P. Worrell runs around. She runs back around
while he's
to the front
climbing
of the
up
boat.
the fishing nets. And then Jennifer Love Hewitt finds the dead bodies on ice, and I think it's Andace's body. You can't even really
She cries
tell.
underneath the bow of the boat, and it's all the bodies in the ice, and you're like, oh, like the killer put them all there. It's like Max and like the blondie guy, and under the body in the ice, it's dead.
And then this is when they start fighting Freddie Prinze Jr. and the guy.
And this is where Ernest P. Worrell whoops some ass to start off with. And he freaking knocks Freddie Prinze Jr. over the freaking dock, or not over the side of the boat. He knocks him off. Because freaking Jennifer Love Slide, she yells his name for no reason while they're fighting.
Oh, I know, and
she
yells his name,
and he looks at her and he's like, "What?" And then freaking the guy freaking knocks him overboard.
Why would she? It was just retarded. She was just, yeah. And then this is when he throws like the pulley at him, and it gets wrapped around his arm.
Yeah, he gets
it's
back
pretty
up.
Tight kill for the villain. He
climbs back over the boat and he throws the freaking
Actually,
pulley.
they don't even show him dead.
No, first it nails him in the face and he falls over, but then he gets
throws
back
him
up.
out to sea.
And then he gets hooked up on it. Yeah, it's pretty tight though. His hand gets all cut off and he gets thrown out to sea.
And you're like, no,
right, so he's not dead.
No villain's gonna die that easy.
Yeah, what the heck?
Especially in a horror movie.
Yeah, so then the cops show up. It's all emotional, and they're like, "Do you have any reason?" The cops like, "Is there any reason why this guy would harm you?"
It's the classic extra cop scene in Run a
And they're
Cop
like,
outfits,
and for the comic relief, they're like, "No reason why he would harm us. We don't know."
Exactly, that's what it was. And he was like, "I love you, Julie. No one gets you like me."
Oh yeah, and
of course, you didn't see. Like, we didn't see that them
it's like,
getting back together.
These cops should be, questioning him hardcore. They take him down to the station, whip out their freaking gun, put it on the table, and whip out the dildo, like it's a scary movie.
And they'd be like, "Yeah, I don't believe it for a second." No, yeah, and you just
they won't believe it for a second. Anyways.
No, then it goes to freaking 1 year. No,
oh, yeah,
and then the cop. No, the cop says he didn't find the body, and they're like, "It'll show up sometime."
Yeah, they always do. And then it cuts to 1 year later, and you're like, another year later?
Another beer later?
Another beer later? A couple months, a couple blunts?
No, right, this is when she's a total filler.
And then she's in college. She's totally happy now. She's got over it.
La la la. Moves at a good pace, but for most of it, yeah. And then she opens up a
No,
letter and it's
no,
like,
no,
pool
no,
party.
No, it doesn't even make sense. Her freaking black roommate. No, she's going in the
We got
shower.
30 seconds,
She's going in the
shut up.
shower and she's like.
And her roommate gives her the mail in the shower. Yeah, we know.
And you're like, wow,
And
why
as
would she hand
soon
her
as
mail in
sees
the
that
shower?
still no, and it breaks through the glass, and you're like, is this bitch dead?
All right,
And it goes
overall-
straight to a freaking rock song. And you're
Yeah,
like,
it
what
goes
the
to
hell?
rock
I
song,
hate
you're like,
horror
great,
movies
rock
that go
and cry.
straight to a rock instead of a
Overall,
horror
it was
beat.
pretty tight. I
got
liked
8
it.
seconds.
What'd you think of it?
It was decent. Definitely like
All
a
right,
7.
check out our other
Little
reviews and
kinky.
stuff. Check.